Gentleman, Prince William.
Mr. Speaker, I would ask the clerk to report a resolution.
Clerk will report a resolution.
House Joint Resolution 902, commending Captain Florent Groberg, agreed to by the House on February 23rd, agreed to by the Senate also on February 23rd.
Gentleman, Prince William.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would also ask that anyone comprising the Prince William delegation to the General Assembly, as well as any interested parties from Northern Virginia, and especially those who at one time or another in their life have worn the cloth of our country as a military member of the United States Armed Forces, if they would join us here today. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, today we have the honor to recognize the personal bravery and singular acts of selfless courage taken by a young man who stands behind me, a distinguished American, a great Virginian, U.S. Army Captain Florent Groberg. Today, Captain Groberg is joined on the House floor not only by our colleagues, but by Mr. Stephen G. Canton, who is Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of I-Corps Networks, Captain Floberg's former civilian employer. We're also joined by Mr. Larry Groberg, Florent's father, and by United States Ensign Ellen Drybulbus, who was Florent's care provider at Walter Reed Army Medical Center after his injuries sustained in Afghanistan. Ladies and gentlemen, relatively few Americans are called forward to defend freedom in its maximum moment of peril, but that's what happened with this young man, and that's the story that I would like to share with you today. A little bit later, we are going to stand and give presentations on some dear colleagues who will be departing service in this House, men and women who have shown great spiritual courage in crafting policy for the Commonwealth of Virginia. In the case of this young man, he has shown significant physical and moral courage on the battlefield in faraway places, and that's why we gather today. Tomorrow, I'm going to be privileged, I think some of you may be joining us, to go to Richmond International Airport for a departure ceremony for the 1710th Transportation Company of the Virginia National Guard. And it will be great to stand on that tarmac and speak to those same type of young men and women, young Virginians, who will be deploying to faraway places to defend the ramparts of freedom. Captain Florent Groberg graduated from college and entered corporate America and became an account executive with I-Corps Networks in Northern Virginia. He was motivated by love of his country, as all of you are, and an honoree enlisted in the United States Army and later earned a commission in what we can all agree is the greatest army the world has ever known. During his second deployment to Afghanistan, he was selected to head the personal security detail for his brigade commander, a senior United States Army officer who commands roughly 5,000 troops, a very significant combat package in a foreign deployed location. While they were in transit to a high-level meeting, Florent observed a suspicious individual wearing a suicide bomb vest and who was targeting his brigade commander, apparently for assassination. Florent led his security detail in engaging the threat and eliminating the threat. As a result, he was credited with saving the life of not only his brigade commander, but also others in his personnel support team. For his actions, he sustained significant personal injuries that required extensive surgery, extended therapy, and a prolonged period of recovery at Walter Reed Army Medical Center. As a result, he received our nation's Bronze Star Medal from a grateful people, and today he graces our chamber and honors us all by his presence. In the words of the resolution that all of you approved during the regular session of the General Assembly, The closing paragraphs say this: whereas Captain Groberg exemplifies the patriotism, bravery under pressure, and willingness to sacrifice displayed by all officers and enlisted personnel of the United States Armed Forces, now therefore be it resolved by the House of Delegates, the Senate confirming that the General Assembly hereby commends Captain Florent Groberg for his heroic life-saving actions during a mission in Afghanistan, and be it further resolved that the clerk of the House of Delegates prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to Captain Groberg as an expression of the General Assembly's admiration for his patriotism and selflessness in the defense of others. Mr. Speaker, I hope that the members will all join me in expressing the affection, the approval, the appreciation, and the respect for Captain Groberg's significant bravery, his love of country, his sustained significant self-sacrifice, and recognize this distinguished gentleman of this great Commonwealth of Virginia. Thank you.
Captain, we are honored to have you with us today. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your courage and your sacrifice and all that you and so many others like you have done to protect our country and our Commonwealth. Thank you for being with us today.